Elaine McFadden.
Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and the bees survive? Right before me, my newfound hippie side. Once ignored these conspiracies online. Out the window, visions of the earth. Sign me up now, make sure you use your smart. Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and the bees survive? Would your children lie to see Mother Nature's side?
Welcome to Smart Health Talk with your host, Elaine McFadden.
Welcome, everyone. This is Smart Health Talk radio show. And yes, you are at the right place. So please don't change that dial. Stick around with us. If you like butterflies and beautiful insects, then hey, this is the place to be, along with some in the news headlines that we'll be going over. But we were over this weekend at Butterfly Farms in Encinitas. And myself, your host, Elaine McFadden, who's a registered dietitian with a master's in public health and believes that everyone should be eating 100% organic diet and nothing less, because I will never, ever, ever think that it's okay to put poison in your body. And I tell you, we have a major problem, and it's not just here in the United States, globally, with obesity. I tell you, who wants to be fat? Who wants to be carrying around all that excess weight? And I can talk. I've been there myself. And you don't realize that your body changes at different stages and your metabolism changes. And that means you have to change. And so many of us, we just keep on going along like we're still 25, 35, and we're like, not that anymore. And we don't realize that our activity level has actually changed as well. I tell you, it doesn't take long at all to put on an extra 25 pounds. And I tell you, I sure am glad I got rid of my extra 25 pounds, but I still got another 25 to go. But what was my formula? Eat less. I haven't had time to exercise like I want to do. I feel like I spent half my life exercising. I decided at this point in my life, I would rather just eat less, and instead of thinking that I got to go work out for 3 hours. So that's on the agenda, though, for this winter, getting the muscles back in shape. But what's been a priority for me over myself and everything else this summer has been bringing the monarch butterflies back to our area here in the Inland Empire. And monarchs are actually all over the country. So if people are listening to us from other places around the country, you know, monarch butterflies there's a good chance that you have some there too. And I tell you, I was just looking at this one study, and it's pretty much saying that the global population of flying insects is crashing dangerously fast. I mean, this has such huge implications, everyone. Do you like to eat? Do you like to eat fruits and vegetables? Do you enjoy flowers? If you tune into our station, KCAA Radio, you can watch our video. And we are surrounded by all these incredible flowers from the butterfly farms that we got from Encinitas this Saturday. And these are pollinator plants and milkweed, which monarch butterflies have to survive. I am asking everyone listening, please plant milkweed. Feel free to call us or email us. Actually, email is the best way. And just Elaine at smarthealthtalk.com, or go to our bluemonarchproject.com website. You can sign up there. You can reach out to us there. Volunteer to plant milkweed. Volunteer to help us take care of these monarchs. We've released about 25 just in the past week. So if you saw some monarchs flying around, I'm hoping that they go to the ocean, but I found out from Tom over at Butterfly Farms that the way stations that we have for overwintering by the ocean have not had any butterflies, which is very sad, and I'm hoping to change that with your help. This is a community project. This is not just my project. We need people planting pollinators. We need people not using pesticides. And I have to share with you, we actually were telling people Moon Valley Nurseries was a good place to go, and I drove there. That took me a good hour and a half, 2 hours for me to get all the way down there, just to find out that after being reassured on the phone that no pesticides had ever been used on their milkweed, because I've worked hard to raise these babies from eggs, little teeny tiny caterpillars, and the last thing I want is to feed them pesticides and have them die. And Dr. Lundgren said that even at half the dose that they allow for neonicotinoid pesticides, it's 100% death for bees and butterflies. So you think I'm going to risk even one little tiny drop of pesticides on my monarchs? No friggin' way. And I just want to thank them for being honest when I got there, at least, and telling me the truth to my face. But, you know, this is a huge company that has been buying up nurseries that have went on tough times because of the recession. And I guess they're good at managing money and buying up these different nurseries. And I was pretty much told that they spray everything. They actually tried to tell me that all nurseries have to spray all of their products. And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. That is so far from the truth. And we're going to find out how Butterfly Farms runs their nursery compared to others. But I was pretty much told they spray everything. We need people, and there's no way to contact them except to contact your local. They have no corporate number. I tried to call them today. So call your local, if you have a Moon Valley nursery near you. Call them, ask them if they're using pesticides. Say, I know you're using pesticides. If they say no, and say, I want you to stop. All these home improvement stores and all these people are using pesticides. I talked for an hour and a half to the Home Depot. Or who's in Atlanta? Is that Lowe's? I think it's Lowe's. Yeah, I get it mixed up. Lowe's. Whoever's centered in Atlanta, I think it was Lowe's. Their sustainability director for an hour and a half, and he says to me, "Oh well, we want to quit using neonicotinoid pesticides, but we have nothing to replace it with." And I'm just like thinking, is there anything wrong with this picture here? You know, why not no pesticides? Butterfly Farms doesn't use any pesticides. So why do all these other people have to use pesticides? Why are there pesticides all over our food? Because, and then what really gets me is right now we have the Farm Bill coming up. We have decisions being made on biofuel, decisions being made on NAFTA. And farming and food is huge, huge business because we eat every day. Every person eats every day. It's not like you go buy a TV set and you don't buy another one for 10 years. This is something you're buying every single day. And because everyone's eating all these fast food hamburgers, which I do not understand, that come from factory farms full of who knows what, and we are now getting our chicken from China. So you're going to be eating Chinese chicken when you go to KFC or these other places. And all the countries that have welcomed to these fast food restaurants now have an epidemic of obesity, like Saudi Arabia. they are right there with us on obesity. And they did a special on them. Oh, Domino's Pizza. Oh, the taste. It's just so good. They got like one house ordering 3 pizzas in one day, having to deliver 3 deliveries in one day. They are friggin' hooked on fast food. They have no bars there. They have no place to socialize. So they all socialize at the fast food place. That's adding to the problem. But bottom line is these pesticides and this fast food, it's making us fat. And it's killing our precious insects, our beautiful insects, the ones responsible for pollinating 80% of the plants on this planet. And we used to have millions and millions of monarchs right here in the Inland Empire. People may be seeing them this year because we have released close to 500. We have about 100 at our house right now. We have 2 caterpillars right here. Here's our little babies on our milkweed. And we have a bunch more at home. And I just love it when they're just big and healthy. But unfortunately, there's a horrible disease that we need to educate people about and getting them to take steps to help protect the monarchs as well. But I think a lot of it comes down to all these practices. We've weakened the immune system. We're poisoning. We're having glyphosate rain now. We have used billions of pounds of glyphosate Roundup in 1 year on our country, not to mention all around the world. So we are going to talk to Tom from Butterfly Farms today. We're going to learn more about all of this because he is the expert. I am not. I'm going to learn along with you guys. I'm so excited to have him on the show. And I'd like to, do we have Brandon? Brandon's our engineer, everyone. You can go to KCAAradio.com and you can watch us. You can look at, we're going to be talking about all these pollinator plants that I have right here in front of me. And we're going to, you're going to want to see what they look like because they're so beautiful for one thing. You're going to want to plant these in your yard and you're going to have butterflies and bees and all these other wonderful things happening when you plant them. So do we have Tom ready?
I think so.
Okay. Are you there, Tom?
I'm here.
Okay. Yay. There you are. Great job. That was a challenge for Tom to be on Skype with us today, everyone. But if you tune in, you can see Tom and myself here and all these great plants that we got. And it was such a pleasure to meet you and come to Butterfly Farms, Tom. What's your last name? Okay, wait. Hold on just a second. The audio is a little bit weak.
Yeah, it's Merriman, Merriman.
Oh, okay, Merriman. I love that. And I was just
Irish, yeah. Irish for happy.
Yeah, we're the Merriman. I just read about someone that was an expert in etymology or something, and their last name was Plant. That was something to do with plants, and their last name was Plant. So I thought that was great. But you definitely bring a lot of joy to people, and you guys have the Butterfly Farms in Encinitas, California, which is down there towards San Diego, everyone, near Del Mar, Carlsbad, around that area. How long have you guys been there?
Well, we were in Vista, California for years, and then we moved here last January. We opened back up here in April.
In the new location. So it's good that we're letting everyone know that you're in a new location now.
Well, it's bigger and better.
Yes, it was beautiful there. I just, I just love the whole area, the drive, and, you can drive next to the ocean when you go down there, everyone, and spend a day. And then head on over before 4 o'clock to the Butterfly Farms if you just want to get plants. But you guys have way more going on there than just being a nursery. What other kinds of things do you guys do there?
Well, we're an educational research nonprofit, and we study local, sensitive, threatened, and endangered butterfly species. So we have collaborative partnerships with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, with resource conservation districts. We work with University of Kansas, University of Florida, UCSD, Cal Poly SLO, and some other community colleges.
Guess what? I just called the University of Florida today because I was calling Dr. Stoddard, who is the mayor of South Miami, and he understands pesticides and what they're doing. And he has declared that he's had enough of the pesticides, and he wants the city to start working on getting rid of them. So we just salute Dr. Stoddard, Mayor Stoddard, over there in South Miami for his efforts, and we're hoping to accomplish that here as well. So you guys do education, and so you guys have is that like a field trip for schools to come there?
Yes, we have field trips, mostly kindergartners and second graders. So the next generation science standards, the Common Core, dictate that they study live science in those grades. So we teach them about conservation, about metamorphosis, about the interaction between insects and plants and animals.
And what are some of the main points that you try to teach the kids?
Conservation.
And what does that entail for them to do to help?
Well, that like you said, we stop poisoning our plants and insects and animals, and start being more responsible stewards for all of us.
And it seems kind of overwhelming, probably for most people and people listening. And you think, gosh, what can I do just myself? And how does it start? How does conservation start?
Well, first of all, we try to promote planting native plants to try to restore the ecosystems here. But what we ask people to do is plant host and nectar plants for butterflies mostly. So butterfly species are plant obligate. It just means the females of different species only lay their eggs in very specific plants, and the caterpillars can only eat those very same specific plants. So we're trying to bring back the numbers that way. It's one of the ways.
Yes, and I was so grateful to find a source of milkweed that didn't have pesticides on it, because without you guys, my caterpillars were going to die. I didn't have enough.
Correct.
With that, and that happens a lot, because they'll lay like a lot of eggs, and then you have all these caterpillars, but no one is having milkweed anymore. And why would people not want to plant milkweed?
I think everyone should plant milkweed.
I know. I guess the only negative that I've really heard is they're worried about the pests that are like aphids that can get on milkweed, but those can be simple solutions if you stay on top of it.
Well, there are simple solutions, and part of the problem why there's so many bad insects out there is because people have been using pesticides and killing the beneficial insects. So we use biological controls. We release parasitic wasps that host only on aphids, for example, or green lacewing larvae, or ladybug larvae. There's a lot of pretty easy ways to do it, and once the balance is restored, we don't need to add any more. They're here naturally.
Well, what I noticed with my milkweed this past summer is if aphids move in, so did the ladybugs on their own, and they were just like, boy, they were going at it and laying eggs like crazy, because they were multiplying in response to the amount of aphids. And that's the way the system is supposed to work, isn't it?
That's correct. Nature will balance itself out.
Yes, and I'm going to keep repeating it because it's the best study ever, where they actually took 3 different kinds of farms and they did the integrated pest management, which is exactly what you were talking about. That's what introducing the beneficial insects like the wasps and and people think wasp, they think, oh, that big giant thing with a stinger, that's going to come and attack me. But these wasps are so much different. Why don't you explain to people how they work? Because it's a good example of how integrated pest management works.
Well, first of all, these wasps are tiny. They're smaller than a gnat. So what they do is they use the aphid as a host. They will lay eggs inside the aphids, and then the little wasp larva will emerge from it, and at the same time kill the aphid.
And they're not hurting anything else that's that's the good guys, just the ones that we don't want to be taking over our
Correct.
garden.
Right. Yeah, they're very specific.
And then there's like other things too that people can do to really help keep the pests away. Like I was learning about like those nematodes, and then there's like soil microbes that maybe they don't have enough of. Well, I mean, it's kind of a puzzle and a mystery that you're trying to solve if you have like lots of pest problems. So, how do you help people that come to you and say, my garden's a disaster. I have, all these pests. I don't know what to do about all of it. I just gave up because I have too many pests and I don't know what to do. What do you say to people? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have tried and then they got discouraged.
Well, I mean, an easy way to control aphids is just wash them off with a hose. And then for other plants such as whitefly, that host whitefly, like hibiscus, for example, you need to prune selectively. If bugs like to hide, so if you can't see through your citrus tree or see through your hibiscus, there's going to be insects inside there.
So what do you mean? You can't see through it?
If you're standing on one side, you can't see through to the other side. That means bugs have a great opportunity to hide and multiply.
Oh, so you're saying selectively trimming, like to get the excess foliage off, so that there's air ventilation and it's easy to find pests that are starting to take over. Because if they're hiding, next thing you know, they've taken over like your whole plant, and you didn't even know it was happening. Just like
Yeah.
So that's good advice.
And there's ultrafine oils and things you can also use too that you can then wash off the plant later on.
Oh, what is that?
Just highly distilled oils, very fine oils.
Where do you get those? What are those called?
Well, one brand name is ultrafine oil. Actually, you buy those at ag supply stores.
Oh, okay. And then you spray that in. Like, this is a good time of year to use that?
Yeah, like you say, for example, put 2 ounces per gallon in a pump sprayer, and it'll go a long way. And then after you've controlled your insects, you can wash them off.
And it won't hurt, like if the monarchs come on that plant?
No.
It won't hurt them? Oh,
No,
that is great advice. And would that help, like with spiders and things like that on like trees and shrubs?
I'm not so sure about that.
Oh,
Spiders
okay.
have their own enemies out there.
Because I thought like that dormant, is that like dormant oil spray?
It's like a dormant oil, but there's no copper in it.
Oh, okay. And then, so maybe like for the trees, you use that dormant oil spray, and maybe that would help with the spiders.
Well, with some of you got to be careful because some of the dormant oil sprays do have heavy metals in them.
Oh, okay. Like the copper. Is that bad?
Copper.
Is
That's not
copper
good.
bad? Because I thought that was something that organic farmers use.
A little bit goes a long way, but there's things like different oils like rosemary, sesame, peppermint, thyme, cinnamon, garlic. Those all can be used also.
I guess the complaint I hear about those is that they're short-lived.
They're short-lived, but what you're trying to do is just restore the balance in nature. So if things get ahead of you a little bit, you basically cheat.
And I've heard of people like spraying pesticides on, because they get aphids on their milkweed, and then they're spraying that, using the pesticides to control the aphids. And I think they don't realize what's happening when they do that.
Well, a friend of mine is a large grower in Southern California, and he had some of his clients, consumers, complaining that the caterpillars are dying. So we did trials for him. It took over 3 months for these pesticides to get out of the milkweed plants.
Oh, wow. I wondered about that. Thank you for telling me that, because I was just talking earlier about how all the home improvement stores, and then you know my experience with Moon Valley Nurseries, how they lied to me. And then I went and I tried to call them, Tom, and they don't even have a number to call them. You have to call just the individual locations, that you can't even call their main office and complain. And that's probably why they don't do it. They don't want anyone calling and complaining.
I'm sure it's easy.
But go ahead.
Them saying well, they're not required to spray. That's not true. That's just not true. We're inspected by CDFA weekly. They're in here, and we ship to 7 western states. I mean, so you do not have to spray.
So that's the California Department of Farm and Agriculture?
Food and agriculture.
Oh, food and agriculture. Oh, okay.
Sure.
Okay, so they come once a week to your nursery, really?
That's correct.
What are they looking for when they come?
Well, in our instance is looking for the glassy winged sharpshooter, which they're afraid it's going to get up into wine country. So since we ship all over the place, we can't have any of those bugs on the plant.
Oh, I'm going to have to go look that one up and see what it looks like and make sure I don't have any of those. But the thing is, like I was just reporting about 3 weeks ago, because I've personally had experience with the county or the state coming to spray for mosquitoes, the psyllid, the citrus psyllid. And, you're saying that they're looking for this other pest because it's a threat to the wine country. And that's pretty much what all these pests are, a threat to some kind of agriculture. And yet residential houses are being sprayed in the name of agriculture. And 3 weeks ago, they were over in Los Angeles spraying people's homes for the medfly. And they come onto people's property and spray. And you could have an organic citrus tree or an organic garden in the yard, and they're spraying these pesticides and ruining all of that. I just wish that we were taking a different approach. I mean, are these the kind of things that you guys and your partners that you work with, are these some of the things that you discuss, or what do you and the other groups that you're affiliated with, what are some of your goals?
Well, our goals are to repopulate the pollinating insects, among other insects. So if you think about it, it's like the bug splat theory. I mean, how many bugs do you see in your windshield now compared to 20 years ago?
Oh, yeah. I didn't really think about that. But, yeah, we are having less splattage on our windshields. I think I have noticed that, and I've talked to people from the area where I'm at here in Loma Linda, and they have memories of monarchs covering entire cars in this area. They came, and did you hear about that one report? This was like actually a good news kind of report over Denver. There was painted ladies. There was such a big. What do you think about that?
That was a painted lady migration. I think that's probably what a lot of people were seeing here too. Also, where painted ladies migrate every spring, and they head up north towards Oregon. They leave the Sonoran Desert and head north. I think that's great news.
Yes, it was
pretty
great.
remarkable.
I thought it was interesting that they mentioned in the article that there's a lot that we don't know about painted ladies. I mean, are we not studying these insects enough? We're too busy in a lab creating more GMOs and more poisons to use on all our plants and poison everybody and some new chemical to preserve food, as opposed to like understanding the world around us and what's really important here. And to me, the work that I've been doing this summer, and you must have been feeling this for years, has just been so rewarding to me. I just love, letting go the 25 monarchs we let go over the past week. It's just so rewarding to watch them fly away. A couple of them like struggle at first, trying to get their rhythm for how to work their wings, and it's just so cute to watch them. And then when they finally get it and they're like flying away, it's just like, yay. I did that, but I want my monarchs to be coming over and visiting the way stations by you guys. So how do we do that? How do we make that happen?
Well, we just, like you said, you grow more milkweed.
So if I can get lots of people, I thought I'm going to go to the city council meeting, and I want to, or the mayor. I was going to try to call the mayor's office because I thought maybe that I want to talk to that Dr. Stoddard too, because I think we all need to be sharing ideas and learning from each other.
Yeah. One of the things we're trying to do is work with municipalities, local governments, to grow more pollinator-friendly plants, and especially milkweed along right-of-ways. And one of the things we do here, too, with U.S. Fish and Wildlife is we're planting pollinator gardens, native pollinator gardens, in high-profile public areas so people can see what you could actually do yourself.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. I love that. Yeah, because they're planning other things that are, really, maybe some use, but there's a good chance that they were bought with pesticide on them. And how many months did you say it takes for the pesticide to get out of the plant?
Depending on which cocktail they use, over 3 months.
So over 3 months, while you go buy a plant at Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware, one of these places, you bring it home, you plant it, and you think, oh, I'm helping the bees and the butterflies, when actually for 3 months, you're killing them. You're responsible, you're contributing to their death by feeding them poisoned nectar. That's... and I don't know if you ever heard, this is why I will never buy a Scott's product for the rest of my life. They were actually fined a few $1,000,000 because they were spraying pesticides in the warehouses where birdseed was stored, and they were responsible. So they were selling people poisoned birdseed. So bird lovers were thinking they're feeding birds these seeds when actually they're poisoning them because of Scott's. And this drop in these insects, we don't realize how much other species are dependent on those insects, because birds need those insects too, don't they? Tom? Oh, lost Tom a little bit. Okay, Brandon will get him back. Birds, actually, that is like a big part of their diet is insects. Are you there, Tom?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. I just couldn't hear you very good. So I was just wondering, like insects and birds, the birds are dependent on the insects to live, right?
That's true. It's just like using rat bait. You're killing raptors. The same effect.
You're killing what?
Raptors. Eagles, hawks. Raptors.
Raptors. What are those?
Yeah, raptors.
Oh,
Prey.
the rats. You're killing rats, but then raptors are like birds?
Raptors are birds of prey.
Oh, birds of prey, because you fed them the poison, and then the bird comes and eats the rat, and then they die.
Yeah, that's true.
So what do you suggest?
The same thing with insects. Well, there needs to be a different way to do it. If you have a rodent problem, you need to trap them.
I trap gophers. I've gotten like 60 out of my yard. I just got one in the past week. It was giant. It had giant claws and big giant teeth. No wonder it left giant mounds in my yard. But the traps work really good. And also, I'd like to suggest for the rats, cats, feral cats. There was a great story in the Chicago Tribune how people there were suffering with rats and nothing worked, and the Humane Society is actually renting out feral cats, which I thought was a great idea because it can make money for the Humane Society. They can do more work, great work. But I guess there would be like all these little footmarks in the snow, and then after the feral cats came, gone. So, that's just an example. And I've had people about goats using like goats to eat the weeds. Have you ever heard of that?
Sure I have. Sure I have.
Yeah, have you guys ever used that in your area?
No, we did try feral cats for a while, but the problem was the coyotes were smarter. So.
Oh, yeah, if you got coyotes, yeah, there is another higher up predator there that can pick off the cats. Do you guys, when the kids come and visit your butterfly farms, I mean, what's that like for you?
It's a lot of fun. The kids, it's really well received. The kids have a good time. We have a good time. They come for roughly an hour. We spend 25 minutes or so teaching them about the life cycle, the interaction between insects and plants and animals, and about our local butterflies. And
what's the response that you get from the kids? Do they see butterflies when they come to you?
Yeah, then they get to see butterflies. They get to see the whole life cycle. They see the eggs, the caterpillars, the chrysalids, and the adult butterflies.
So do they ever do they get to hold a butterfly or anything like that?
If they're lucky, we don't use this as a petting zoo. So
right,
sometimes they'll because they are fragile.
Yeah, and
but they will land in the kids, yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, I saw one instance where they took the butterflies down to the sick children at the hospital, and they.
So
Pardon me?
We work with some pastors. We do releases at hospices and.
So you'll go and do a special release with a group or something?
Well, if someone's passed or.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it was just the most precious picture of this sick little girl. She had the tubes, and she had a piece of orange with a butterfly on it, and just the look on her face looking at that butterfly in amazement. And it was just the most precious picture. And I just thought, well, you probably see that look a lot. Kids are so responsive to things like that, and they really absorb it, and they can really get it, can't they?
Yeah.
I know.
We work with a lot of Title I school kids here, and these are the poorer schools, and these kids most of these kids don't have a backyard, or even a yard at all, and they get to be up close and personal with these magical insects.
Well, I took a whole, about 100 people up to Aguanga, which is, if you know, it's out in the middle of nowhere, Kahia Mountain Farm, and all these high school kids from Fontana and Riverside all over. But it was just amazing when you show kids where their food comes from and get them connected in that way. And that's why I just love what you're doing so much. It really is showing kids something that they may never see at home. Like you said, they don't have backyards. They don't get to see these flowers. And actually, speaking of flowers, I am here surrounded. I brought all these flowers down that I got from your farm. And I thought we could just take a couple of minutes to maybe explain what some of the different kinds are, and why people would want to grow them, besides them being extremely beautiful. Of course, I got the milkweed, which was critical, because without this milkweed, I had 100 hungry caterpillars at home that were going to starve to death, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And so one of our goals is to plant 25,000 plants in the Inland Empire next year, but we got to start growing a lot of it. We need pots, we need potting soil, we need seeds. So if you go to bluemonarchproject.com, you can donate. And of course, Butterfly Farms is a nonprofit that's run by donations as well. And you can hear all the great work that they do there. So please, if you're going to help a cause, I mean, you really can't think of anything better. I know saving lives with people, but in a roundabout way, that's exactly what we're doing with this project. Because if we can stop the use of pesticides are killing people. They're making us fat, and killing us in like so many different ways. They're destroying our children's brain before they're even born. They're lowering their IQ. They're causing autism. We're looking at 80% autism in our boys in 15 years, according to Dr. Seneff, which is all on our smarthealthtalk.com website. And please go find our videos on YouTube, Smart Health Talk. 5,000 hits on our Dr. Tyrone Hayes and how atrazine is chemically castrating our boys. And they give the girls breast cancer early in life by exposing them to high levels of estrogen in the womb. And, this is just one of so many different pesticides that are being sprayed all around us every single day across the street from our schools. And just be aware that there has been a law passed they can't spray next to our schools anymore. And if you see that that's happening, talk to your principal. And feel free to call us. We're glad to help anytime with that as well. So, so I have the milkweed, and the milkweed is critical, but there's lots of different kinds of milkweed. Is there like 30? I read that there was like 30 native varieties for California. Does that sound about right?
I think there's 26. There's quite a few. We grow 9 of them.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay, I got to come back and get some of the other ones next time. I was very excited.
Yeah.
What was that one with the really thin leaves? What kind was that? I didn't bring that one because it's delicate.
I think you brought home a native narrow-leaf milkweed.
Yeah.
Some tropical milkweed, and another one called swan plant, which is actually an exoticus from South Africa. Most of the native milkweeds now are going dormant.
For right now, yeah. So I was really glad to have leaves because this time of year, and with the weather being so crazy, I talked to, because I shop at farmers markets, so my local farmer, who's also has a PhD in geology, said that he has plants that are maturing now that shouldn't be maturing until like February. So things are really crazy, and it must be mixing the butterflies up as well with some of these changes that we're having in our climate and vegetation and stuff like that. So was it the yellow flower was the one from South Africa that you were talking about, the milkweed?
Well, there's a tropical milkweed with yellow flower.
Oh, okay. And then what was the one from South Africa?
That was the taller one with the thin leaves. It's going to have white flowers. That one's called swan plant.
Oh, okay. And
then
the narrow leaf.
The natives you took were narrow leaf.
And I actually watched a video on how the Xerxes, however you say, or Foundation helped this one heirloom seed company get a bunch of those type of milkweed planted. It was kind of interesting how they have a little bag that they put over the seed pod to make sure that they catch all the seeds. I want to do that next time. I like that technique. But, by growing lots of different varieties of milkweed, I mean, we're bringing back kind of our native landscape that we used to have. And I love the idea of growing native plants to our region. But my favorite, of course, is the Mexican sunflower. And the plant that was out front by your nursery there, you said it was like gigantic. What, about 6 feet tall?
Yeah, it's about 6 feet tall.
Wow.
6 feet tall.
And if you all could see the flowers on this Mexican sunflower, I'm going to kind of turn it so people could see the beautiful orange. That orange color is just so gorgeous, and it's just covered. And does it flower like the entire summer? And
It's an annual. It flowers for 4 or 5 months.
okay, for 4 or 5 months. And
Yeah.
and then the ones that were like yellow around the cone, is it the cone flower?
It's Coreopsis.
Okay.
Coreopsis. It looks kind of like coneflower, which is echinacea.
Oh, okay. And then what? And then all butterflies like all of these, right?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
All
So,
butterflies will nectar off any plant.
and then what about
Yeah.
lay their eggs?
Well, the butterfly species are plant obligated. It just means the females of different species only lay on very specific plants. So
Like
for
the
monarchs,
milkweed.
it's milkweed. Yeah, like for monarchs, it's milkweed.
And then what would be some other ones that people might want to plant to have a variety of butterflies?
Well, I mean, anise swallowtails will use fennel or dill, parsley. I'm not sure.
Is that for the swallowtails?
That's the anise swallowtail.
Oh, okay.
We're giant swallowtails. They're using citrus. They're plants in the citrus family.
Okay. And you can plant that in a pot even, right? And you could
Correct.
still be attracting them.
Yeah, we're growing our giant swallowtails on rue, which is related to an herb. It's related to citrus.
Oh, really? I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to check that out too. That sounds good. And then the lantana, and you guys had like several different colors of lantana, and I have had so much success with lantana. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I trim it back till there's like no branches left, and it just comes back brand new and huge. It was just like going bigger and bigger and bigger. And flowers all summer long, and just all kinds of different insects and butterflies. And it's a drought resistant plant as well, isn't it?
That's correct. Ours don't look so good because they're overwatered. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you don't want to water them too much, actually. And the red that
Yeah.
I got from you guys is like so incredible. I had the orange and the yellow, but I'm really excited to have the red. And then I really like these. They were like a little pink flower. Do you know which one I'm talking about? It had long,
I think
thin stems, and then the little pink flower on it.
that's Gomfrina. Gomfrina.
Oh, okay. How do you spell that?
Gomprena.
Okay, because I love that one. It is so cute. The flowers are petite, but they're such a beautiful pink, and I love how they're all how they stick up, and they're just really pretty. And then there was one that was a pink one, kind of or a lavender, kind of a pinkish lavender. It's kind of like a mum that it had like that, all that foliage in the pot.
Oh, I think you're thinking of it, salvia.
Oh, okay.
Salvia.
Oh, the blue. I didn't bring the purple one. The purple one was the butter.
Oh,
Yeah, that was the salvia, wasn't it? With the tall purple flowers?
yes.
Okay. Yeah, that one. Oh, I forgot to grab that one. This one is more of a round, flat flower that was kind of a lavender, and it kind of comes out with the flowers all over, and it's got all the foliage near the top. Oh well. Well, I'll get a big list and make sure I have that at
That
the
might have been Mexican sage.
Oh, okay. Mexican sage. See, there's just like so
Yeah.
many incredible flowers, everyone. So many new things that you can add to your yard, and they bring you pleasure. Okay. I mean, what kind of things do we have in life that really bring us true joy? And butterflies are definitely up there on that list of true joy type things. Whenever I look at a monarch butterfly, I mean, how can you help but not smile? And we're depriving ourselves of this joy because of what? What are we getting back instead of that? Things that don't provide that kind of a feeling, that kind of satisfaction. We keep grabbing for all these other things, and what are we using our time for? You know, are we using our time for things that really have meaning and purpose? Like, you know, getting out there and helping to plant milkweed maybe in our cities and our parks, and that we could start to get together and have milkweed planting parties. That sounds like fun. I want to do that. And we could throw a good party too. But you know, just, you know, personally, just to do that for yourself, I mean, it's really a rewarding experience. And if you have kids, they are going to be so into it. I have heard people talk about memories of raising monarch butterflies as kids, and they just cherish those memories. And that's why I asked you about the kids, Tom, because I've heard other people talk about their experiences, and
Kids just love it.
yeah, they do. They do, because I think they have that sense of how important all of this really is, and how we grow our food. All of this is creating the situation that we have right now, where our climate is out of hand, our food is poisoned, obesity is at levels like never before. And it's not just obesity, it's overweight. A huge percentage of it's like 60%. Actually, it's like 70% in South Africa. Oh, what? I guess we're near the end of the show. Well, thanks, Brandon. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us, Tom. And go look at butterflyfarms.org and make your way down to Encinitas for a great day for the family, and go buy some pesticide-free pollinator plants. And get started, okay? We need you to plant some milkweed, and go to bluemonarchproject.com, and please reach out to us, everyone that lives in the area here. Let's do this thing. Let's be sending some butterflies Tom's way, and hopefully they'll be coming back and visit us next spring. And we're going to have lots of beautiful butterflies to look at, and lots of beautiful flowers. Hey, I like that. Okay, well, everyone, thanks so much for joining us. I'm your host, Elaine McFadden. And I hope you'll be back here next Tuesday, 4 o'clock. Thanks a lot. Bye.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
NBC News.